What's up, everybody? Kafka here, and we are going to take a look at the 5 new Ascendancies that just dropped. We got some slides of images so you could get this before they release the full patch notes next week, so you have an idea of maybe which Ascendancy you want to play. I'm going to start off with the Huntress because the Huntress looks absolutely insane, especially the Ritualist. So this right here, you can see it, everything's pointed out. So there is the opportunity to get another ring slot with the Ritualist Ascendancy. And this could be good for so many different builds. This is crazy. You could also get 25% bonus gain from rings and amulets. You do lose something though. So there is a negative side effect. So if you go ahead and get that extra ring slot, and you get that 25% to amulets, you do have to choose between reduced maximum mana by 30%, which is kind of high. I would think that no one would use that unless you're playing a build that doesn't need mana. Reduced spirit or 15 to all elemental resistance. So that's probably the case that I would do, because you think about a ring, you just could get a ring with plus 15 to elemental resistance and it wouldn't make that much of a difference. So those are going to be 4 nodes that are going to be a must. I'd say you go to the elemental resistance, reduce resistances. You'd get the +1 to ring. You'd get the 3% increased attributes, and then you'd get the 25% to rings and amulets, which is absolutely insane. I also really like this one. You get 3% movement speed this way. You get ritual sacrifice, and you get this one isn't covered. I believe this one's probably going to be 3% in movement speed as well. And then you get as the whispers demand. So ritual sacrifice can be used on yourself to remove 20% of your maximum life to grant a random monster modifier. So basically that's like having a heavy hunter belt on you. So now you get an extra ring and you get a free heavy hunter belt. That sounds pretty insane for the 8 ascendancy points. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I'm assuming there's going to be so many builds that are going to able to use this ascendancy. And I really am like, I don't want to say 100%, but I think this is the first ascendancy that I will go for. I'm looking for the most powerful build first to be like my farming character, and then I'll build a second character, which I'll talk about on one of these ascendancies in just a second. All right, so we do have 2 ascendancies for the Huntress. So this is the second one. This is going to be more of your, it seems like you're a melee Amazon attacker. So melee Huntress. So there's things to increase your skill speed, evasion rating, life leech. There are some things that work with trigger effects and infusion. Life leech is going to be pretty big in this build, it looks like. I like in for the kill. It says 20% increased movement speed while an enemy with an open weakness in your presence, 40% skill speed. So that is pretty cool too. So that means if they have a bleed effect on or something like that, because the Amazon Huntress is going to have some type of bleed skills that actually are going to be better in this league. I believe that bleed is actually going to be pretty good. And I think that for the bleed builds, this ascendancy actually will work really well. You could probably use a few different warrior abilities as well with this ascendancy, but this looks like a pretty fun one. But I think a lot of people will choose the Ritualist when they compare both of the game style and the play, because I think the Ritualist could play a lot more different kinds of builds, where this is going to be more like a melee Huntress build. So this is the new warrior ascendancy. So they actually got their 3rd ascendancy now. And it's kind of interesting because you're basically like a blacksmith. And with that, you're actually forging your own gear. So you can see if you go to the right here on this node, it's called Smith's Masterwork. Can only use normal body armor. This skill passive is free to allocate. So you basically get this skill and you could add any of these different things on your body armor. So you're going to get a free chest piece with this build, which is kind of nice. But you could add some crazy stat lines, 15% maximum life, 20% increased strength, 75 to lightning resist. This seems pretty crazy. It is going to make the warrior extremely tanky. I will have to say, I think that they are going to have to change a ton of different ascendancies because these five seem so good. There would be no other ascendancy end game I don't want to play for a warrior than this ascendancy. You're basically going to have these new skills that allow you to craft these hammers that follow you around. They're like minions, and you can even see on the nodes there's increased damage. Minions deal increased 20% damage, so your hammers count as minions now. The ones you actually cast or create or smith are actually your own minions, which is really cool. But this tree allows you to craft a ton of stuff. So manifest weapon, temper weapon, grant skill, fire spell on hit. This seems like a fire build that makes you super tanky with minions. So we'll have to see what this pans out. This seems like this one could get really in depth. So I don't even want to act like I know what's going on with it, but this seems really in depth, really cool. I'm so happy we got to check some of these out before the actual game came out. So I'm hoping that they changed a lot of other ascendancies, but we're probably going to play a new one anyways. Actually, two of them. And the next one I want to talk about is Tactician. So let me make this a little bigger. So this was probably the one that I was a little bit underwhelming. I maybe it's great. I heard Pin is really good, but this is going to be like another summon. It's like a minion build, basically. So you're going to have to use a lot of spirit with the Tactician. That's why they have a node that does increased 8% spirit. It does do Pin. I hear that Pin is going to be really strong. I'm not really sure, but you're going to have totems. So you could see that you could do increased totem damage. Minions do increased damage. Projectile damage builds Pin, which is kind of cool. So you're basically able to pin your mobs, keep everything stunned, and it might be a lot easier to map with everything being stunned with a mercenary Tactician build. So we'll have to see what skills come with this. Obviously with the picture, we could see there's a ballista. Looks like you're going to get your own mercenaries, but I still think that, I don't know, this looks fun too. All these ascendancies that they came out with, they look incredible. I really hope that they did some updates to the sorceress and some of the other classes ascendancies, because it looks like, one, you're getting way more options to choose from on these, and you know, you only get 10 points, right? Or 8 points. So you could see that you're going to leave some undone, but there's so many different ways that you could build this character, and I think that this would be even possible to do some of the witch powers with the Tactician build. We'll have to play with all those when we get everything in a passive skill tree, so we can see how it rolls out. But that is the Tactician, looking good. All right, another one I'm really excited about is the Lich. So this, if all is the plan and a ton of ascendancies don't change. So that's why I'm saying 90% sold on going the Ritualist first and then building a Lich second. But unless something crazy happens and they change a lot of the other ascendancies around. So I'm 90% in right here. I think that this Lich is going to be extremely fun to play. Also, it's going to be very good with groups. So there's a couple things on here that talk about allies in your presence, right? Have a 33% chance to implode, dealing a quarter of their maximum health as chaos damage. So you're basically going to get a build finally that does really good chaos damage. You and your allies' presence have Unholy Might. While you are not on low mana, lose 5% of mana per second. So Unholy Might buff grants 30% of all damage as extra chaos damage. That is huge. That is a ton of damage. So also you could, oh my gosh, this is really cool. So you could actually get another socket, a non-unique socket. It has 100% increased socketed jewel effect, 50% more mana cost if you have no energy shield. So that is really cool. This extra socket piece right here, you could get 20% maximum energy shield. You could actually apply an additional curse, Dominion over Flesh. I think that's really cool for grouping too. So this could be the ultimate with this extra socket here. This could be the ultimate grouping build. So maybe this is your rarity bot build, but also it's going to make everyone do 30% extra damage. That is crazy. So increase the magnitude of your unholy might buffs grant per 100 mana. So you stack mana, you put temp chains on, you put all the curses you want, enfeeble, and you're debuffing everything. You're still creating 30% extra damage, and you have this socket with 100% increased effect of socketed jewels. And you're just slowing down the map. You're making everything really easy to kill, and you're stacking rarity on your character. Give me this. This looks so fun for a supporting build that is going to just help the team out and groups make the group experience way better than PoE2. So this is the Chronomancer, and if they don't change the Chronomancer, this will be better than the Chronomancer for grouping. I guarantee it. 25% increased area effective curses. So man, it's like wearing that Presence helm. This is just, oh my gosh, this is so good. So, all right, so let's rank them now. I think by far the Ritualist Ascendancy is the number one out of the 5. In terms of pure power, this seems like it is going to be. So the Ritualist, number 1 on my list. I will say that number 2 would be the new Warrior Ascendancy. I think this is going to be extremely strong. I think this is going to be a fun build to play. I don't think that this Ascendancy can play that many different builds. That's why I would never start with it, because I want an Ascendancy that I can make different builds and try different things out. So I think this is going to be really strong, but I do not think it is going to be the best build. These 5 are so freaking cool. I love it. I love what they're doing. They made a ton of other updates. If you haven't seen that already, there's a 40-minute video of all the updates. They didn't go in depth with actually these 5 Ascendancies, so I wanted to share that. But please check it out. Comment down below. What do you think of these 5 Ascendancies? I think that they are going to be definitely the most played next season for sure. Unless, like I said, we get some patch notes, something crazy happens, they change some things around. We shall see, but appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe. Kafka coming out with a lot of content on PoE2. We're super pumped. Thank you guys. Have a great day.